Since Gen 6, we've gotten new forms for older Pokemon, starting with Mega Evolutions, and later with Regionals, Gmax, Paradoxes, and Convergents, also known as Fake Regionals. So, in today's video, I'm designing a new form for every pseudo-legendary Pokemon. I think there's no better way to start than with Dragonite, the original pseudo-legendary. I wanted to create a Gmax form for it, referencing the giant Dragonite that appears in the first season of the anime, where the group goes to a lighthouse where Bill is trying to befriend it. So as a reference to this giant Dragonite, I made its Gmax look like a lighthouse. Dragonite is known for being able to use all kinds of elements like electricity, so I find it fitting that it can light its head. I also added some stripes surrounding its body, as a reference to classic red and white lighthouses. Meet Gigantamax Dragonite. Its custom Gmax move, Gmax Dragapult, makes it so that the opposing Pokemon can't dodge the next move. Next we have a regional form for Garchomp. I was originally going to make a design for each one of its stages, but I felt like the video already have enough content. Besides, not every regional form starts with its basic stage. Garchomp is a shark, so I decided to base it on a different type, the Goblin Shark. It's quite ugly and it gets its name because of its long nose, as it makes it look like a literal goblin. So this inspired me to make a more fairy tale like Garchomp. Meet Regional Garchomp, a dragon and fairy type Pokemon. It likes to steal gold from commoners, often sending troops of Gible and Gabite to search for it. Next, we have a past paradox form of Baxcalibur, the new pseudo-legendary. As its most distinctive feature is its giant crest on its back, I decided to base its past form on Stegosaurus. I'm not the biggest fan of Baxcalibur. I feel like it has a lot of potential, but they gave them a very weird stiff pose, and its head shape is a little underwhelming. So, I decided to make a more interesting shape for its face as a possible redemption. Meet Freezing Inferno, a nice and fire-type Pokemon. It heats up its crest at such high temperatures that it needs to partially freeze its own body to not hurt itself. Next, we have a Mega Evolution for Kommo-o, a pseudo-legendary that I feel is very underrated by the community. For its Mega, I slightly based it on the Maori, indigenous tribes from New Zealand, especially their dance, the haka. This dance was originally used as a preparation for war, and it included them sticking their tongue out. I also gave Kommo-o some extra scales with patterns around its body to represent the body tattoos and clothing. When Kommo-o reacts to its Kommo-o, it will Mega Evolve into Mega Kommo-o. It constantly dances in a hypnotic yet fierce way that intimidates the opponent. Next up, we have another past paradox form, this time one for Hydreigon. It got a future form in Sword and Shield, so let's give it a past version as well. When the channel was starting, I had many viewers suggest ideas for Pokemon, and Timers suggested to make a Convergent Hydreigon based on a Scorpion. I really tried to make it work, but I felt like it only worked on Hydreigon and not its previous stages, as they don't have 3 heads that can look like the pincers. So, I decided to adapt the amazing idea for this video and make it a paradox form instead. Meet Primal Stinger, a dragon and poison type Pokemon. It has a giant stinger coming out of its rear that resembles a face. This allows it to deceive its prey to get a good shot at it. We already made 2 past paradox Pokemon, but what about the future ones? They deserve some love as well, right? Well, that's where Salamence comes in. It already got a past form in Sword and Shield, so this time it gets a future version. The idea is a Bagon that got engineered into a form that is just as powerful as Salamence, but in a more pocket size. Shelgon is this round creature that to me kinda looks like the Dragon Ball space pods. So I thought that this Pokemon would actually ride inside it, crashing against its opponent and then coming out. I also gave it some spikes around its cheeks, so that it looks more like Salamence. So in this paradox we have the 3 stages in one. Meet Iron Pilot, a flying and cosmic type Pokemon. It is said that researchers attempted to create a smaller, more efficient version of Salamence for space travel. The result was a self-contained organism that barely leaves its armoured pod. We already made 1 Gmax form, but let's do one more, the pseudo-legendary of the 2nd generation. Tyranitar is based on Godzilla, a kaiju as tall as buildings, so making a giant form for it is very fitting. I gave it these giant crests on its back to look a little more like Godzilla, and I made them have this distinctive Dynamax glow come out of them, similar to how Godzilla's back lights up when it shoots its beam. Meet Gmax Tyranitar. Its Gmax move is Gmax Dreadstorm, a rock type move that is super effective against rock, steel and ground types. It also sets up a sandstorm that also damages the opposing rock, steel and ground type opponents. We only have 3 more pseudo-legendaries left. The first of these 3 is a Convergent Metagross. But first, I would like to remind you that you can help support the channel by becoming a member. I made this design for Pokédex fillers at the very start of us collaborating. I based it on a crab. But before I get more into it, let me present to you its first stage, Bractum, a bug and water type Pokemon. It's born from fallen pincers of its evolutions, who often lose them while fighting, however they grow back. Next we have its second stage, Metang. For those of you who don't understand the difference between a regional and convergent, a regional form is an alternative form of a Pokemon where they share a common ancestor. But due to their habitat, they changed into something different. On another hand, a convergent is 2 completely different species who just so happens to look similar because their habitat adapted them in a similar way. So, for example, Garchomp and its regional form are both sharks, but Metagross and this convergent aren't the same species. One is an alien robot thing, maybe a spider, I don't know, while the other one is a crab. Anyway, that's it for today's special class, let's carry on. Meet Metacian. This Pokemon is very territorial, constantly fighting with others of its kind, losing its pincers in the battle which gives life to a Bractum. And finally, its final evolution. So the reason I turned it into a crab is because Pokédex Filler's Magic Wheel asked for Metagross to be a water and bug type convergent. As I felt like Metagross is kinda close to a spider, I just searched for spiders you find in water to see what I could find, and I found the spider crab, a crab known for its really long legs. I thought that this was a great fit. Meet Exogross. In its final stage, it becomes much faster as it grew long powerful legs, so instead of patiently waiting for prey to get close, it will chase it and grab it with its powerful pincers. Oh, and it also got a corrupted form, so enjoy it. Next we have my favourite pseudo-legendary, Dragapult. Just like with Metagross, I made a convergent of it for Pokédex fillers. In this case, it's based on a hammerhead shark. The reason I went with this idea is because sharks often have remoras stuck to them, which reminds me of Dragapult and its Dreepy. Meet Dribbly, a water and fire type Pokemon. Its glowing organ allows it to keep itself warm in the freezing oceans of the north, often attracting smaller Pokemon in search of warmth. For its evolution, you would think it would have a Dribbly on its head, just how Dracloak has a Dreepy on it. But in this case, it actually has a Remoraid, similar to a Mantine. Meet Dralik. This Pokemon lives in very cold waters, and thanks to the heat that its organ emits, Remoraid come closer to it in order to stay warm. In exchange, it will help Dralik to hunt. And for its final stage, Dragapult, as I mentioned, it's a hammerhead shark. My main reason for using this animal for inspiration, apart of the remoras that sharks have, is the shape of the head, as they both have a similar shape. Meet Hydropult. It has 2 Remoraid on its head who constantly compete to be the favourite, so that Hydropult gives it a bigger share of food. And if Hydropult reacts to its Hydropult type, it will Mega Evolve into Mega Hydropult, whose Remoraid have temporarily evolved into Octillery, enhancing this Pokemon's firepower. And I actually have another form for Dragapult that I made not too long ago on my channel, which is why I left it for the end, to not bore my usual viewers. Basically, I'm creating a full region based on Hollow Knight Silksong, and in this region we have a new mechanic called Attunement, where some Pokemon can enter a new form for 3 turns, where their stats change completely, giving them a new role mid-battle. They get these forms by being influenced by godlike Pokemon, and I based all of these forms on existing enemies of the game. In this case, Dragapult is based on the Maestro, an enemy that has 3 flying cogflies around it to protect it. This reminds me of Dragapult's Dreepy, so in this form it has 3 Dreepy protecting Dragapult. Meet Attunement Dragapult, now a Dragon and Steel type. In this form it's much slower, but in exchange for its speed it has much higher defenses. And for the final pseudo-legendary we have Goodra. I also made an attuned form for it, based on the Shaman Snails from Hollow Knight and Silksong. Meet Attuned Goodra. In this form it becomes a Dragon and Psychic type who uses the power of the Void to enhance its powers. And I actually have one more form for Goodra, a past Paradox form. I don't have a time lapse for this one as I made it a long time ago, but here you go. Meet Spiral Fortress, a dragon and bug type that uses its acidic goo to sculpt its own shell out of rock or any materials it finds. And that's it for today. These were a lot of designs, much more than usual, so I would really appreciate it if you liked and shared it. Also, don't forget to leave a comment letting me know your favourite and what you would like to see next. Before I leave, I would like to thank my members for helping support the channel. Thank you Pokédex Fillers, Dre Tats, Sensaki Farrell, Stanley Pop Gaming, Lisa Alderson Scott, Fire9596 and Antonio Rutter. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.